Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a new episode of the broadcast JoynPlayce on Air. For those of you who don't know me yet, I am Stefania Molinari, Art Director and Community Manager of JoynPlayce, and JoynPlayce is the Italian brand for innovative experiential travel. So with this broadcast, we want to take you to our world, let you understand how we live tourism and what are the amazing, let me say, stories that we create for our guests. But why do I call them stories? Well, for those of you who don't know the Storyliving Experience framework yet, in these activities, there is a very light, simple plot and a mission to be accomplished. By accomplishing that mission, our guests, they learn, they explore, experiment, and really live a unique and memorable experience. Today, with our virtual fan trip, let me call it, we take you to Venice. And in this journey, it is led by Monica Gambarotto. Monica, ciao.
Hello.
Ciao. Welcome back
Thank
here
you.
with us because
Thanks.
we have been with you already.
More
Okay,
than
but
one.
yes, but for those of you who don't know you yet, what can you tell us about you?
As you've heard, my name is Monica Gambarotto, and I am a professional tourist guide in Venice. Venice, to me, is actually much more than just a city. I'm really fond of its history, art, culture, of its traditions. It's a real passion for me. And, I've been working as a tourist guide for quite a long time. And year after year, I've felt that it had become mandatory almost for me to share my passion with the guests that would come and visit Venice. And my idea was that they would not only visit the city, but my idea was to help them experience Venice, live Venice, become part of Venice, which is the only way for them to keep some important memories for their lifetimes. When they come to Venice, if it's just visit around, eventually you've seen this city, you've seen another city, and after a few years, it's basically the same. I mean, you forget a lot. But once you've lived an experience, a story-living experience, your memories will last for your entire lives.
So that is why you decided to specialize as an experiential travel operator, right?
That's right. I felt that this would make my job and my experience as a professional tourist guide even better. I felt that I could give a lot more this way to my guests.
Okay, but let's get inside your story because today we take our guests to something maybe well known in Venice because everybody knows the gondola, of course, but we really talk about rowing. So, what is the mission in your story?
Our mission is to learn as much as we can during a very intensive course about the famous regatta called Vogalonga, which takes place in Venice, of course, and in no place else rather than Venice. And so we will meet in a campo in Venice. Campo means a field, so sort of a square in our city, and I'll hand out the program of our super intensive course. During our walk, during our story living experience, you will have to take notes. It'll be very important because eventually there will be an exam. The first part of our experience, in fact, includes theory, whereas the second part is practical. But during theory, you have to take notes, pay attention carefully so that you will be able to pass your exam. During this experience, of course, we'll have the chance to talk a lot about all different types of boats, or rowing boats, I mean, in Venice. But one of the most important icons in our city is definitely the gondola that you can see here in this picture. Just think that the gondola is very ancient. The first time we find it mentioned is in a document that dates back in 1094, so it's incredible. And gondolas were very important in the past, are still very important today. So I'll tell you a lot about how it's built, where, which elements form the gondola, and eventually we'll be able to learn how to row exactly the same way as the gondoliers do. Here you can see the gondoliers waiting for their guests. But instead of just sitting like guests, eventually you'll be able to row alla Veneta, as we say, to row the Venetian way, exactly the way gondoliers do. In order to do this, we'll have to visit several artisans and areas that are very important to accomplish our mission. And the first place we'll visit will be a workshop where a young artisan works. His name is Piero. He's the guy on the left with the red t-shirt. And Piero is a remer. Remer is actually the one that produces oars. Remo, in fact, in Italian means oar, so you see the name written on his back, remer. And of course, you need special artisans to build the gondolas, but you need also a whole lot of other artisans to build all the other details that are necessary, and oars are necessary. But another important element that you can find on a gondola and also on all the other rowing boats in Venice is the forcola. You can see it in this picture, and also even better in the next picture. The forcola is a special oar lock where you insert the oar in an appropriate way to propel the gondola or the rowing boat in general. It's a real work of art. It's a sculpture. So Piero will unveil for us all the secrets, both of the oars and of the forcolas. Mind that forcola doesn't have a translation either in Italian or in English, because it's a typical Venetian word. Forcolas are present only in Venice. And Piero will also tell us a little bit about other types of boats, like sandalos, as you can see in this picture here, and other boats that you can find in the Venetian lagoon. Then we'll keep walking along the narrow alleys of Venice, but in particular along the canals, and we will be able to see other important rowing boats in Venice. And we'll learn how to distinguish them, obviously. And step after step, we'll reach an interesting foundry, the Valese foundry, and here again expert artisans cast the metal details that are needed on gondolas and other rowing boats. Here you can see the artisan that has just produced some little seahorses. These are decorative elements of a gondola, and in the next pictures you'll see a couple of steps on how these details are cast. These artisans will explain you everything about the secrets of casting metal, bronze in particular, but also mind that in a foundry they also cast the so-called irons, the bow iron and the stern iron that you find on gondolas that are not just simply decorative, they have a very special purpose. We'll keep walking, and our theory part has almost come to an end, but we still have to visit another very important place, which is a squero. A squero is a small boatyard where normally gondolas and rowing boats are prepared, but in this one, which is called Venice on board, they do not build rowing boats. So these young artisans restore historical boats, and Emiliano will hold a short lesson for us again about the peculiarities of the Venetian rowing boats, about again oars and all that, all the elements that are needed on a gondola. But this time, you know, his point of view will be different because he's the one that has to unveil all the secrets of voga alla veneta, rowing in the Venetian style. And after his short lesson, you will be ready, if you've taken good notes, of course, to take your written test. And after this written test, the best part of our experience, the most memorable and unique, all on board, rowing alla Veneta, rowing in the Venetian style. It takes a little bit of effort, you know, you have to pay attention, especially if it is the first time that you row this way. But as you can see in some of the pictures, I mean, you'll also have fun. And one other interesting thing, see, okay, one's rowing, the other ones are laughing behind, waiting for their turn to row themselves. But what do you think? While you sit there waiting for your turn, wouldn't it be nice to sing along? Well, we suppose normally the gondoliers sing. This is not really true. Gondoliers don't sing that much. What if we sing instead of having a gondolier singing? Obviously, if you're rowing, just keep rowing and try to put your effort on that. But while sitting, it would be interesting just to sing along. Maybe some song of the Venetian tradition. Well, you might say that if it is a song of the Venetian tradition, it's going to be in Italian or even in Venetian. Well, yes, sure, why not? It'll be even more fun to sing something that you might not even understand. So here again, one moment of how you row, how you learn how to row. Just imagine that in such a Storyliving Experiences, in most of the cases, our guests, our aspiring rowers, actually don't even know how to row in the Venetian style. It's their first time. So that's really unique. And it's incredible that eventually you realize that you can do it. And after all these moments, of course, we'll have to celebrate because it was definitely fun, but also it requires quite an effort. And after our celebration, every participant receives a certificate, and now you are ready to register for the Vogalonga in Venice. Vogalonga actually means long regatta, And really thousands of participants register for this Vogalonga every year, not only Venetians, but also people coming from all over the world. But let's say you won't be able to register for the Vogalonga for some reason, well, after this experience, you can say that you've done most of what you could to enjoy a real Venetian experience that will remain unique, memorable. It's a once in a lifetime experience that will remain with you for the rest of your lives.
Okay, we have seen, wow, this is, such a beautiful experience, something really kind of innovative for Venice. But it's not just, you, because we have seen that we met some artisans. So let's really meet our partners.
Ciao, sono Piero Dri e sono Remer. Il mio laboratorio è il forcolaio matto. Il mestiere del Remer è uno dei più antichi ancora esistenti a Venezia, nasce nel 1307 e ancora oggi lo portiamo avanti secondo l'antica tecnica tradizionale per fare la forcola per la gondola e per le altre barche veneziane. La forcola è ancora simbolo della vera Venezia, perché la vera Venezia secondo me è quella fondata anche sulla voga, sull'esperienza della Venezia più nascosta, ecco. Quindi chi volesse venire a trovarmi sono molto felice di spiegare il mio mestiere e di spiegare come si costruisce e come si usa una forcola e perché anche la forcola ormai è diventata una scultura d'arte contemporanea, se vogliamo, in tutto il mondo.
Ciao a tutti, io sono Emiliano, il presidente di Venice On Board, che è la nostra associazione sportiva, e ci occupiamo principalmente di recupero di imbarcazioni tradizionali antiche e per finanziare il restauro di queste antiche imbarcazioni facciamo attività di didattica, cioè l'insegnamento della voga alla veneta e la vela al terzo. Uno di noi è il carpentiere che appunto si occupa del restauro, poi ci sono alcuni dei nostri istruttori. Questo è il nostro laboratorio dove conserviamo tutto l'equipaggiamento per vogare e nel contempo cerchiamo di promuovere questo tipo di sport, che per noi non è solo uno sport ma è molto di più, è proprio uno stile di vita se vogliamo, e che non ha alcun impatto sull'ambiente e quindi crediamo sia la maniera migliore per vivere la città. Ciao a tutti.
Such a young guys, yeah. Right, Monica?
Yes, definitely. It's so important to visit such workshops in Venice and to find so many young men, young ladies, depending on the workshop, of course. Sometimes you think that artisans are elder people that are the last examples of ancient traditions and that the traditions might die with them. And instead, in Venice, it's so frequent to find younger people trying to preserve such important traditions from the past. So it's not, something that is just something that belongs to the past, but we still keep it alive and keep it in the present, which is different in Venice. I think Venice is special also from this point of view.
Okay, I totally agree with you and see such a, young people with that, passion in traditions is so nice. We understand that it's something that is never going to die.
That's right.
So it's good. We also have a video of your story I would like to broadcast. Okay, there is something I would like to say to who is watching us. You haven't seen Monica in this video, but this has a reason because all our operators, experiential travel operators, they have this great passion they want to share. So they create the story based on their own passions. But in other cities, most of all in Venice, we are able to provide these experiences in many languages. So that's why sometimes you see different people leading different stories. You have seen, for example, Monica in her story about the carnival, and another story about Casanova. So that is to tell you that these activities are available in English, Russian, French, German, Spanish. So that's the reason why you haven't seen Monica neither in the photos or in the video. So that's the explanation. So I hope you enjoyed our show, that we were able to immerse you in our philosophy, in the way we like to do tourism in a deeper way and off the beaten track. I remind you to keep following us on our social media, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Visit our website where you can find all our catalog and all our fantastic stories and other broadcasts like this one. I thank you, Monica, for being with us today. Would you like to say something before we go?
Just that I'll be waiting for everybody to Venice. So please come, join me in this story, in other stories, because it'll be really a way to live Venice, and your experience of Venice after this will be not only unique, but also memorable, definitely. So come and join me.
Grazie a tutti.
Ciao, arrivederci.
Keep following us. Bye bye.
Bye bye.